it's Megan. So I am coming at you with another finance chit chat video, and like I've said for the past few weeks, I am just loving doing these weekly discussions with you guys because I've learned so much about my own personal thoughts on finance, but also received a lot of amazing input, suggestions, questions, comments, everything from you guys, and it's just an incredible space to be in and just look back on the comments or read them as they come in, and I just have learned so much. And there's like a giant plane overhead, which never happens, only happens if you're filming, like seriously. But this week I thought I would talk about something that I just recently heard about because I never knew what this acronym meant, and then once I did, it really got me thinking. So it is FOMO, and I had seen it, but I didn't know what the heck it was. So what do you do when you don't know what some colloquialism is? You look it up on Urban Dictionary. So I searched FOMO, and it means fear of missing out. And so this got a whole overwhelming mind process going for me to think about this acronym, this phrase, and this just overall cultural feeling that I think a lot of people have these days, because you see so much of what people do. Like, I share my life with you guys on my videos, on Instagram, sometimes Twitter or Facebook, and even if you don't make videos or you don't have random people watching you, you share it with your friends and your family and on your personal social medias and stuff. And so you're seeing other people's as well. You see celebrities on their Instagrams and Twitters and Snapchats and everything. You see people going on vacations, and you see them doing awesome parties and out to dinner, eating amazing food, traveling around the world, or even to just a different city. And you constantly see people doing cool stuff all the time. And there's definitely a little bit of competitiveness, some jealousy, some, I wish my life was like that, I wish I had time or money or just whatever it would take to do as much as other people seem to be doing. And I don't know how much I feel like competitive or jealousy, which sometimes I do when people post like amazing tropical vacations, but I think it's more, to me, fear missing out on experiences or just times in my life that I won't get back. Being this age that I am now, my young 20s, I'm never going to be 23 again, and I'm never going to be 22 again. That time has passed, and I feel like a lot of times I have missed out on different opportunities just because I have different anxieties, especially social anxiety, and also there was a factor of not wanting to spend as much money, or I didn't have money at the time, or whatever the case was. There would be something holding me back from doing different things with friends or doing different experiences, going out myself doing things. And now that I have more confidence in myself, I've really tried to work on my social anxiety and push myself out of my comfort zone, especially in 2015. I was always trying to say yes to things, and that really taught me a lot about myself, my limits, where I should maybe say no to certain things or just think a little harder before I agree to something. And also, in my personality, I'm very much a people pleaser. So when someone else wants to do something, it's very hard for me, even if I truly don't really want to do it, it's hard for me to say no because I want to spend time with that person, or I want to show them that I care about them. So I'll say yes, even if it's not something I would really want to do if it was up to me. So there's just a lot of things going on with my mental process and just different stuff like that that adds to, I think, my personal fear of missing out. But this definitely has a lot to do with, like, you can feel, what am I saying? You definitely can save money while not missing out, or you can spend less while not missing out. And this is something I struggle with, that I really have talked about to you guys a lot, that even though I'm not shopping as much and just not spending money in that way. I'm still going out with my friends, I'm planning vacations, I'm doing all sorts of different experiences, which I think is much more worthwhile than material possessions ever will be. But at the same time, I can't go like crazy and just get everything I want, all the different amenities or different places I want to go to eat. I can't do them all, and it's hard for me to hold back because now that I have more disposable income and I'm being much more intelligent and smart and forward thinking about saving money, I still have some spending money, because if you don't have any spending money, I just can't imagine like never being able to treat yourself or do something like in the present. You can't always be just focusing on saving. You need a little bit of, to me, I think you need a little bit of spending money to do what you want with it. And so now what I like to do with my spending money is different experiences. And I am definitely a little bit of a snob when it comes to going out to eat or like staying places or going places. And I don't know if it's because of the media and like seeing what other people do, that's probably part of it, or I've just always liked more fancy and expensive things. I just always have, and now that I can afford a little bit of luxury, I definitely take advantage of that. And I try not to go hog wild or anything, but there's definitely some cutting back that I could do and still be just as happy, and I could still go to the same places, but maybe not indulge quite as much. So that reminds me of one of my favorite Mr. Money Mustache posts that really got me excited about his blog, was when he did a post about luxury being an addiction. And I've mentioned this to you guys before because that really struck a chord with me. I thought that that was such a great way to look at it, because I never thought of it that way, even though I might have like subconsciously realized it. I never actually thought of it as something that was part of my mental process. And I really do think that there's a part of me that really wants to have a luxurious lifestyle, a very high-end lifestyle. It's just something that I feel would be really awesome, and I kind of pretend that I do, even though I don't. I just want to like work towards that fake it till you make it kind of thing. So I try to bring myself back down to reality and think about that post that Mr. Money Mustache did. And I'll link that down below for you guys because it's a very interesting article. And I've mentioned before in my current thoughts on spending less video that I think the reason I like high-end makeup and think that it's cool to have like a Chanel blush or whatever is because I couldn't afford anything else from Chanel. I can afford a $40 makeup or whatever it is, but I couldn't afford a pair of their $1,000 earrings or like a few $1,000 handbag or whatever. But I can have this like little like trinket of Chanel that makes me feel fancy and gives me that sensation of luxury in my everyday life that it's just really cool to have that. So there's definitely a mental process that I have that I created for myself, and looking back, maybe I shouldn't have indulged so much in expensive high-end things, because now I have definitely a little bit of an addiction or just expecting it, and I don't feel as excited about less expensive things, even though I'm trying to be more realistic about that, about material objects. I really need to be that way about going out, doing things, having experiences. And I have told you guys a lot that I love going to concerts and just live performances of things. And it's hard for me to pick the less expensive seating options. So say there's like the floor, the lower section, the mid section, the high section. The ideal would be the floor of a concert. The lower section would be really good, the mid section would be pretty good, and then the high section, I don't even look at that. And there's a huge price difference if you've ever been to a concert or a live performance with those sections. Like the floor could be a few $100s, the lower could be like $150, the mid could be like $100, and the upper could be less than $100. And then of course they have all those taxes and service fees and stuff, so it just adds to the price. And it's very, very rare of me to look at something from the least expensive option to the most expensive. I usually try to set it at the midpoint, sometimes look at the little more expensive ones, and at least with concerts, I always try to think of a budget beforehand. And that's something that I'm struggling with now with planning vacations, because I've never went on long or like plane vacations with friends and like by myself and stuff. And so now to try to think about, yes, I'm going to this place, it's decided the date or about the date that we're gonna go, and to figure out a budget to stay around for the flight, the hotel, the food, the tickets to go places. It's something I've never really had to deal with before, and it's hard. It's hard to know the price that you should be or the budget you should be staying around without having prior experience with it. So I'm trying to be very conscious of not indulging too much, especially when you're going on a group with friends. Some people have different budgets, and that's something that I think once you're friends with people for a longer period of time, basically all the friends I have now, I've had for years. So we're very comfortable with each other and we know each other's limits of stuff. Like we don't know each other's finances or anything, but you kind of know the people that would spend a little more, or the people that are more frugal, or the people that are in the middle and will splash out here but not there. And I think that's important to know when you're planning a trip. A big trip with people is to know where they stand with the budget. And I'm currently planning a trip with some friends, and I'm like in charge of the planning. I just love planning stuff. So I feel a little bit of pressure because there's part of me that would want the more luxurious aspect of things, but I know that it's not practical for a group of 20-somethings to be staying at the nicest hotel. And while it's not practical, it's also not financially feasible for the most part. So I think for me, the fear of missing out isn't that I feel like I'll never do anything or that I won't be able to keep up with other people. It's that I can't take advantage of enough opportunities or experiences in the present. And I'm just so afraid that I won't do enough when I'm this age that I'll regret when I'm older. And I never want to look back and feel like, oh crap, why didn't I do that? Because now I can't, I have a family, or I have this or that or whatever. And I just really want to take advantage of this time in my life, but it's hard to do it without like just spending money all the time. And so one of the things that I've really gotten into, like I said, last year in 2015, I was saying yes to everything. I had plans every weekend. I was doing stuff with different friends. I was so exhausted. Like, let's just be honest, I was so exhausted. And so I really cut back on that just for my own mental and physical health, because when you're doing stuff nonstop, it's just not healthy for you. I couldn't enjoy things as much as I would if I was more rested. And at the same time, I was just spending so much money because at that time I was still buying stuff so regularly. I don't know how I didn't spend more than I had, because it just seemed like everything was just buying, spending. So now that I'm much more responsible in my perspective of how I spend my money, I feel like I can splash out more on those experiences, which is what I would prefer to spend my money on. But my biggest tip that I learned for myself, and I don't know how well this will work for everyone, but I think a lot of people could benefit from planning ahead. basically I never make last minute plans. It's rare that I make last minute plans anymore. And I can't make last minute plans because I'm always planning ahead. Basically, in February last month, I had pretty much every weekend in March planned out what I'm gonna do. And for me, like I said, for my mental health, I always take a weekend off where I just stay home and I don't do anything crazy. I hang out with my family, I make videos, I'll just do whatever I want, but I don't have specific plans. So far in March, I've had 2 insane weekends. Next weekend, I have just 1 dinner plan, but I'm taking the rest of the weekend off. And that is what I need to do for myself, but I don't feel like I'm missing out because I have had 2 awesome weekends, very jam-packed of stuff, lots of fun, and yes, I was spending money, but I think because I have planned ahead, so I knew what I was doing since February, I accounted for that with my savings. And like I said, because I'm not really shopping or spending money frivolously like before, I actually have the money to be able to go out to dinner or out to lunch or to get like an extra drink out or to do whatever I really want to do because I'm not spending money on all sorts of stuff that's just gonna pile up. And I can tell I'm a lot happier now because 1, I'm not exhausting myself and just running myself rampant and just not being able to be relaxed. Inside of me, I'm very, very introverted and I like to be by myself, but I get so much happiness from being around the people that I love. So I'm both extroverted and introverted, so it's difficult for some people to understand that I really do need alone time to recharge and just be myself and be my best self around people. So once I realized that, I've really been able to enjoy time spent with my friends and my family a lot more because I understand that being happy around other people, you have to mentally be there. Like, you can't be so drained and so depressed and things like that and then be super happy around other people. It just doesn't work for me, and I'm so glad that I learned that, even if I learned it the hard way, because it really sticks, and I understand that now. So planning ahead for me has seriously been awesome. And so when I'm planning for April, I'll plan that this month. And I know I have some birthdays that month and I want to see Chloe and different things that are going on. I have a trip that month. So I have like a basic idea of what I'm going to do in April as far as my plans go. And then something that I've really been enjoying lately is just having nights in. And in college, me and Chloe would always do this. We would just hang out in our apartment and just like have fun doing whatever, watching movies, watching TV shows, just talking, dancing. We love dancing to all sorts of crazy music. And so I started to do that some more in February and March with my friends, just hanging out at whoever's house. And now that I'm really into cooking, just like cooking together, and it's just a lot of fun to be like hanging out with people but not going out spending money. And also, if you're able to drink, it's just so much easier to do it in a safe environment like your house or someone's house instead of going out trying to get back home safely and having all those logistical things. That just really stresses me out personally, is like going out to drink is just, I get very stressed out about it. So having nights in not only saves you money, but you can also feel very comfortable when you're with your friends in a safe environment, if you're someone like me that is really paranoid like that. So I don't know, I'm not an expert by any means at saving money on experiences or never feeling like I'm missing out or not having FOMO at all. But I just thought this would be a cool conversation to have with you guys and hear your thoughts on how you save money when you're doing things, or how you feel about FOMO, and if you feel like you're missing out, how do you counteract that, or if you feel like you're just experiencing too much, how do you deal with that as well? Because I just never thought it was possible to experience too much or to do too many things. But for me, it was definitely not great for me to constantly be doing something like every spare moment that I had. It just wasn't good for me. It wasn't good for me mentally, but it also wasn't great for me financially because, like I said, I was spending money doing stuff and then buying stuff as well. So it didn't make sense for me to do both. But now that I just don't really shop anymore. I've really trained myself not to go out browsing or looking online for stuff, and that has enabled me to do more things with friends out, but it also has taught me that I don't need to spend money to have fun. You just need to be with the people that you want to spend time with, and that's what's most important, are the people that are around you. It doesn't really matter what you're doing, but it's who you're with that is the best part. But it is fun to do cool stuff or crazy stuff sometimes. And now that I'm able to take time off and just do stuff that I wouldn't have been able to do with like my retail job or like in college, I wouldn't be able to like go on vacation in the middle of the year. Now it's just really fun to have the flexibility now that I am in a full-time position. And so this is my almost at my job for a year now, so I've had to try to figure all this out over the past year because it's very, very new to me, like I said, and I'm still trying to figure it all out. But I thought that FOMO was a really interesting thing, and now that when I see it, I understand what it is, and I've never really seen anyone talk about it very much like this. So I would just love to hear what you guys' thoughts are on it. If you didn't know what it was at all like me, now I hope you understand a little bit more about what it is, and I hope I explained it well enough. I don't really know where it originated or what they were intending it to like deep down mean, but like it's just an acronym for fear of missing out, and I think that is very applicable for this time in the world with so much technology and constant information all the time. You can't escape it even if you want to. You are always seeing what people do. I'm always having to unfollow people on Facebook because people just overshare all the time, and that's a whole nother thing. But I just hope you guys enjoyed this. This was really fun to chit chat with you guys about, and I don't know what I'll talk about next week. I have to think of something then. But I'm just really excited about this whole financial series. I've loved it so much, and I think you guys have really enjoyed it too. So I hope you have, and please let me know what your thoughts are on FOMO and anything you have to talk about with finances. I would just love to hear it. So thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all, and I will see you soon. Bye.